All righty. Hey, True Believers England team here. We got a couple of things to talk about tonight. We're going to kind of follow up on last night's stream just a touch, as we've got an apology now, and we have the reactions of the comic book industry to the slap heard around the world. It's the start of a revolution. All right. And I'm hearing somebody's computer.
That's
I love
okay.
the sound of my own voice, but I do appreciate it.
That makes one of us.
And
that would have been me.
And in a little bit of reversal of fortune, something I do want to talk about tonight is something that I heard Eric say on Wes's channel. Okay. Now, when you're eating babies, no, I'm just kidding. But you were talking to him and you mentioned how you've been around for 44 years and you just find it easier to go back and read the Golden Age or read the Silver Age, read the Bronze, so forth and so on. But what I actually thought of when you said that was that it is possible, just saying, that your damn near 60 and my damn near 40-year-old asses are maybe just a little bit too old for...
Hold on, I'm not letting you get away with that.
Okay, damn near 65. You're right. You've earned every year of your existence.
Yeah, and you're 40.
No, but I thought about that. It's it really is. It comes down to a case where it just might we are too old for modern day comics. So I'm going to get to the reason why in just a little bit. Hello to Maranya in the chat. How y'all doing? Zach's in the chat, not on the panel. Or did we kick him out? I don't remember kicking him out.
No, he didn't join.
No, Zach has said some controversial things, and I think it's best if we just.
We told him there's no torches tonight.
Oh, okay. But one, yes. Oh, hey, speaking of the butt of the joke, we have Zach. Hey, how you doing, man?
White shirt on.
All right.
It's blue. It's light blue. Don't be like that.
There you go. So here's the thing. I actually, when talk about this, I wanted to put this up here because basically I think everybody's understanding that the Toms suck, whether it's Taylor or King. But one of the reasons why I do believe that we are too old for modern comics is because a lot of the kids now, and by that I mean even the 20-year-olds. When you're this age, you could call 20-somethings kids. A lot of the kids now, a lot of the 20s even, they don't remember what we remember. They don't remember comic books when they were great. Imagine someone who is 12 years old when all new, all different, all suck Marvel began. When you and I, we think about Batman, we think about Superman, we think about Hawkman or any of the decent titles, we're thinking post-crisis or pre. And to us, comics kind of ended with the New 52. And as you said in this live stream, modern day comics kind of make you long for the days of the New 52 when they only sucked this much instead of this much. It's and that actually made me go, wait a second, that could be the problem to us not enjoy. I'm going to put the blame on us a little bit. That could possibly be the problem of why we can't enjoy modern comics, is because we can't let go of the post-crisis era. What do you think?
Well, okay, one thing, and I'm splitting hairs here, but it was video, not a live stream.
Okay.
But no, so one of the things, and I mentioned this because we actually got on that topic after we did our retrospective today, and I was kind of taking the tact of, you've been around so long. Is these characters have been around so long that there may not be that many good news stories to tell. And I said, unfortunately, for what's left of the comic book audience, the people like me that have been around for 47, almost 50 years, reading this crap, there's so few of us now that, that there's not that many people to realize that maybe what we see is, we've seen this so many times before, it may not be so good. As you said, they don't have that frame of reference of our past, because I said their past might be New 52.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Go on
that's
ahead. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking about it, and you make a great point. I mean, if somebody who's, say, 27, 28 today, so they were born in 95, 96, you figure that for most of us, kind of like when we first started finding comic books, we were probably like, around 10 years old, 12 years old. So for them to find comic books, they would have been looking at mid-2000s comics.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I think there's just like that whole lost generation. And then, and so kind of like, as you say, I kind of agree with you that, there, you look at, there's a whole segment, and especially, you look at the lunatics that populate the Marvel and DC boards. I'm sure most of those are like 20 somethings and 30 somethings that grew up, I'm sorry, with mostly garbage.
They never grew up with the Chris Claremont X-Men. They didn't grow up with the John Byrne Superman or the Frank Miller Daredevil. For them, Daredevil was Bendis. So that whole writing style that we hate. By the way, I just read a book. I think I put it down. I'm going to get that in just a second. I got to show you the crap. I mean, you know what? No, I can't wait. Hold on. Comments? I will be right back.
I'm going to say, I mean, to slightly defend Bendis, okay? I mean, I was a giant Bendis fan early on. I mean, Powers is still one of my top 20 all-time favorite titles. And Bendis, and I'll put Joss Whedon because it's basically one and the same. Whedon was doing it on TV. Yeah, Bendis was doing it in comics. Now, the problem is that you got then the pretenders and the people who tried to follow him that were pale imitations, and then they also became full of themselves. And now Bendis and Whedon are shells of what they once were. Of course, and it's like when Frank Miller comes out, he does The Dark Knight. Everybody loves it. It's a violent, it's a gritty Batman. Mm-hmm. Alan Moore steps in, deconstructs the superhero genre with Watchmen, but he also gives us a nice, darker, more mature story with Swamp Thing. And they're fine. Those are excellent. I would never say a bad thing, but what followed was a whole bunch of we're about to learn the wrong lessons. And you just had, you got people going darker and grittier, more violent, to the point where it was hard for you to tell the villains from the heroes if it wasn't for the person whose name was above the title. If it was like Hitman, by all means, I know you like the stories, but you can't, is the Hitman the villain or the hero if it wasn't for the fact that it was his name above the title or give any of the image. So
real quickly, you said before about the people who got into comics later. Zach and I are on this panel. We got into comic books in the early 2000s.
That is true. When I got into comics, one of the first books that I read was Identity Crisis. I think it was right around the time Infinite Crisis was going on, but yeah, I was part of that generation. There
was a lot of good comics in those days.
New Avengers.
New Avengers, yeah. New Avengers was one.
And recently, though, Venkman, you've been on kind of a vision quest of comic reading, and you've been checking out the 1980s, the post-crisis, and finding out, holy crap, Superman was badass in the 80s.
Now, while reading my comic books, I'm wearing my I got my sweatband on, I got my sweatsuit on, for weightlifting. In the 80s, and so
I think part of it too is, with me, I didn't start reading a bunch of books until I heard you or Breen or Venkman recommend them. So I think a lot of it is also just, who are these people that are like our age? Who are they getting their recommendations from? Is it people that are their peers that are kind of in the same category, or are they actually looking at older comic fans and finding out from, it's kind of an environment thing, probably. As well.
Okay.
Well, thanks. No, I wanted to ask Zach a question because he said he started out with Identity Crisis and Infinite Crisis. Mm-hmm. And so being a new fan, because I know that's kind of split where, especially old time fans who really had affinity for those characters really hate Identity Crisis.
Right.
What was your impression when you initially read those?
So I didn't know anything about the Dibneys, so I was just like, okay, well, this guy is the other stretchy guy who's not Plastic Man. I knew that. and I recognized Dr. Light from the Teen Titans cartoon show. I was, what? He's a what now? So that was a little weird. But I mean, other than that, I did generally like it. I like a good detective story, mystery. So overall, I did like it, and I still kind of do. I mean, I feel a little bit worse for the Dibneys now, now that I know who they are.
I'll never look at a refrigerator ever again.
Yeah. So, but no, overall, I still like it.
And there were the thing is, you guys, thanks to listening to old farts like myself, Eric, and to a year
Eric's
lesser LK. You can actually go, well, wait a second. Yeah, these post-crisis books are a lot better. And it's not just the writing style of like Bendis writing a lot of words or something in his, it's what's come before. Now, something I have made fun of, you have a comic book and you have 3 pages. And back in the day, if you ever read Crisis on Infinite Earths, it could take you 20 minutes to read 3 pages because there is just word balloons everywhere. You're getting thoughts of each character. You're getting ideas. You're getting the description boxes. This is a written comic book. And then it just turned to, you'll see Daredevil jumping out of a window. Oh my gosh, next page, still falling. I can't believe, next page, this. And that's in a big old splash page as we see an explosion in the corner, and it takes you 5 seconds to read. I would like to take 10 seconds to read the entire book of Little Monsters by Jeff Lemire. I picked this up because Jeff Lemire, I'm actually a fan of his writing. And never before have I seen or had in my hands to describe what I'm talking about better than this. Tell me that this isn't a 4 or 5 page comic book stretched out.
So decompression then.
Look at this shit. Now this is who is this? This is Dustin Nguyen drawing, and I have nothing wrong with his art. That almost looks like a real comic book right here.
To be fair, Walking Dead did stretch out their issues.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But look at this. This is something, and some people would look at this and go, "Oh my gosh, that was awesome." This is an issue of a book, maybe. This is half an issue of a book. This is what we're getting, guys. It's ridiculous, and maybe it's just that I am too old to think that this is good comic book writing.
You're missing all the word bubbles in the narration.
I'm missing a story.
Yeah.
It did. Okay. Do you know what the story? Do you know what you're told in this book? I mean, the entire book. A whole bunch of kids are left by themselves in a desolated wasteland. That is the only message in this comic. That is it. That's the only message.
Is that issue 1?
Okay. And let me tell you something. I would have to say, okay, it looks pretty bad. By page 2, you get that. By page 2, they've shown you enough of the world they live around to know that these kids are by themselves and they're in a desolated wasteland. That is the only information that's given to you in this book.
Do you know how you fix that book? You put advertisements for like video games in there. Candy.
It's ridiculous how bad these things.
At least just something to read.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I think that's a case of, though, again, where kind of maybe old versus new, or just what the writer's going for versus what we would expect is you're thinking, okay, here's the story about desolate kids alone. I assume like then ultimately like monsters come. And so that's what we want to see. But it sounds to me more like Jeff Lemire took the idea of kids alone in a desolate area, with monsters out there to do some kind of like human exploration.
That would be okay if we got character. But there is no character.
Yeah, looking at that, it looks
if there was something that told us who these kids really were, then okay, at least that's something.
He took 22 pages and couldn't do that, then that's a massive failure, because if you're going to decompress a story like that, then it's supposed to be all about delving in deep into the character or characters.
And we get the opposite side of that with Bendis, who could give you page after page after page after page.
Word bubbles covering up all the art.
And you still have no idea who the characters are. Go on ahead, Hank.
That book reminds you, basically, if you were getting if you're going to read manga, you get chapters in each volume. You get some number of chapters. It's like only getting one chapter instead of getting like 3 or 4 like you normally do in a manga. So it's like they're going to stretch it out, because some mangas do that. You get you don't get, there's no plot expansion until 3 or 4 volumes later. That's how they get you to keep buying.
A comic book for the longest time has been the first 4 or 5 pages, maybe 6, is wrapping up the story of the cliffhanger from the last one. Then you get a little bit of a lull to set up the action, and that's about 3 or 4 pages of this comic book. And then you get the action of this comic book, and then the final page would be the cliffhanger to lead into the next one. And that's usually the format of a comic book. One thing, though, that also I want to mention, speaking on how we may be too old for this shit, is that when you have a story like, say, the Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock destroys his company. Now he's hanging out in his girlfriend's apartment wearing her shirt. And we're thinking Spider-Man would never do this. And the problem is all new, all different Spider-Man most certainly would. But the Peter Parker of the 1980s most certainly wouldn't. And that's our problem, because we just can't get our heads out of, wait a second, this was great. This was glorious. Why are you doing this? Why is it that your idea of new and different always has to be this character's a jackass of some sorts? New 52. If you read, they wanted to bring Superman back to the basics. Really, Grant Morrison? I don't ever remember Superman being a douchebag. Well, okay, that's not true. I gotta go back. There's actually a website called Super Dickory. Thank you, Eric, for showing that off. But you get what I'm saying.
I remember they may turn Supergirl into a total villain. And then,
in Superman Batman, he made out with her with his hand on her ass. So yeah, I gotta walk that one back a little bit. So, but what do you think about that? What do you think about the idea that we're too used to the idea of what, let's say, an old time Hawkman should be? So if he's brought in, or old time Avengers, even.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a valid thing. I was going to say really quickly to follow up on VENKMAN, when you started talking about how, there's, maybe 2 pages of story here, and this is, decompressed. My first thought was, I guess you haven't read Bleach before.
No, actually, is it like that?
Yeah, I mean, that is a manga that is notorious for volumes where and especially the anime, where nothing happens for multiple episodes.
Wow.
But yeah, I think you're hitting on something where, when we've had all these various reboots of the books, how new number ones have become the thing over the last decade and a half plus, or whatever timeline you want to put on it. We still expected, for the reboot, okay, yeah, this is going to be quote unquote a fresh take on Spider-Man or Peter Parker, but it's still going to have the core Peter that we know. And instead, what we've seen is, no, these writers, and with the the approval of the editors and the editor-in-chief and the publishers and everybody else, say at Marvel, have said, well, no, Peter Parker's a blank slate now. You can do whatever you want with him. You can tweak him however you want.
And usually that's the writer just turning them into self-inserting themselves into that character nowadays too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are we reading Superboy, or are we reading Tom Taylor?
Tom Taylor as Superboy. Yeah.
And another
I'm
thing,
looking a little bit like Larry from the Regal Beagle here. Let me put this on.
Cosplaying
Sorry about that.
From the new HBO series that's on. So
another thing that makes this kind of easy to understand, or easier to understand, I can't explain Jeff Lemire's, whatever that was, but whether you agree or disagree, I think it's hard to argue at this point. The comic book industry took a hobby for boys, pushed the boys aside, and gave it to the girls. So it would stand to reason that the audience they're going after now would have no problem with Peter Parker sitting on his couch wearing his girlfriend's T-shirt. And why are you shaking your head?
No,
Because of he was reading Mr. DC Comics question.
Oh,
Is the new 52
Oh,
Justice League
okay.
better than
and go
Grant
down
Morrison?
below that. Skip is going to bring that.
But keep going, Eric, please.
no, but one of the new rules of comics is the women are better than the men. If you've got them side by side, the male is going to eventually be deferential to the woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is now. That's the audience that they want. The way they're kind of nudging society is to basically reverse the sexes, reverse the genders, at the same time claiming they're infinite ones. But that's a rant for another day.
Yeah, these days they got to admit that there are women in order to.
No, you have to be a biologist.
But Eric, I just want to point out that we're not comic creators, so we can't verify that's what they've done.
That is a good point, sir.
I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, we didn't create YouTube, so what are we doing on here? We're not even sure we are.
Yeah.
But it's
Boomers.
I'm not.
and that's another thing. Going back to what it wasn't like that. When we were younger. I mean, I hate to yell at the cloud or whatever, but also when the industry was geared towards men, it didn't exclude women.
Yeah,
it almost feels like in a lot of cases now that if you're a guy, there's a lot of things you have to struggle to, especially if you're a guy. If you're a guy that grows up thinking Chad, the TV show, that the kid on the TV show Chad, that's what a guy's supposed to be, now you're fine with what's going on in comics. But if you're, I said, if you like, things the way comics used to be, it's kind of a lot of the modern stuff is a tough sell.
I found that a lot of girls I talked to, they preferred when it was written for guys, because now when they try to write for girls, they dumb it down so much to the point where
that's right. I know, right?
Great point, man. When the comic books were for guys, they never pandered to guys. They just told stories. When you're so busy pandering to everybody but straight white men, this is a lot of what you get is
the big difference would of course be, and I've just been reading this book. It's like right out of reach, so I can't hold it up. I've been reading Golden Age Wonder Woman, and those are actually well-written Golden Age stories. And this is a guy who truly wanted to write a strong woman for girls to be able to look up to, and ended up writing decent, strong stories, never pandering. Steve Trevor was still a strong male character. The guys around her were strong male characters, but she was just stronger. She was the superhero. She's the one that saved the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so there wasn't that pandering, and you got an iconic character out of it.
Okay, now play SJW Devil's Advocate.
I'm gonna kill him.
Their response will be, oh no, comics always pandered to the man because it was always big, strong, heroes and characters doing big, strong things. Of course, not understanding what actual story and hero's journey is and everything else, but that'll be the argument they make.
If I may, the whole Steve Trevor thing, when back in the day, he was not a joke when it comes to Wonder Woman. He actually was. They wrote him actually being a man, and women are attracted to manly men. So I mean, it made sense that an Amazon warrior would be like she'd be attracted to him, but he was, he tried to go his way to prove himself, but he didn't. But he never. But now today, he's like, she doesn't need him. He's incompetent. They totally, and that's, to me, that's like, what? Because like Mariah reads Iron Man. Iron Man was a manly man. He had real life problems. It's like now he's pretty much, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes ma'am. What woman's attracted to that? So the whole point is that you don't want to push over a relationship. At least I wouldn't want one. I wouldn't want a person that says yes, agrees with me, even when I'm wrong.
Right.
It's just no.
Be married for 30 years.
I'm just gonna say, like, well, if you're having that issue, You're doing it wrong.
No, see, men make a lot of cool stuff, and I've never minded that or have been threatened by it. I got into manga and anime because my brothers were into it, says Miss Cell.
Yeah.
And obviously I can't say what she thought and so forth and so on, but good is good. You know, if you are married, you have been to your share of romantic comedy movies, chick flicks, if you will. And I got to tell you, sometimes I was not able to drag Gail to them as much as I wanted to. But she doesn't watch those movies. She watches movies where people die all the time. No, but the thing is you got your good, you got your bad. You got them both. There you had the facts of life. The thing is it doesn't matter what it's about. It's always how it's about. I've said that many times. And unfortunately, these days, they want to insist that you like their stories rather than actually learn how to write good stories. We've seen this. Eric has mentioned this a couple of times, the Vida Ayala of things. She's never learned how to be a good writer. I don't think she ever will. I honestly do not believe she will ever learn how to be a good writer. Now,
what's her incentive to?
Exactly. And she doesn't need to, because not only will DC publish anything she writes, they will actively go after people who say she's bad, and you will get labeled as a homophobe of some sorts. And that's going across the board. That's unfortunately going across the board. We're getting horrible stories in some of these books. Unfortunately, the one that I chose to show off, I pick up these independents because, for the most part, I found a lot of good stuff in independents where I'm missing out on the DCs and so forth and so on. Oh, by the way, this is excellent and will be on sale on the auction.
Yeah.
No, but it's just one of those things where these people who really should have editors watching their back enough to say this is bad, you've got to redo this, are not doing this anymore. They're not getting that kind of they're not getting this kind of what am I trying to say? Leadership.
You know what's
their demographic.
Can you please read Spiffy Gonzalez's comment?
It's true, but he won't give me allowance though.
Is it me, or does RDV look like an
Everyone
kind of does. He kind of does with the shaved face. He kind of does.
There you go.
Well,
you
otherwise it's like
feedback on there, man.
White.
Yeah.
You know what doesn't help, and I don't know how much of a difference it would even make at this point, but one of the things with the way comics have changed, I follow some comic book Twitter accounts of people who, let me just say, I do not agree with politically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now,
Same.
They post, like, one guy will post where he picked up, Silver Surfer 4, where he fights Thor for $3. I'd love to know where he gets them. I mean, he obviously has a passion for older comics. One guy even has Golden Age in his name, but they give a blank check to all this modern stuff that is just basically, now these guys, they've read this stuff. They have to know that this stuff they're signing off on today couldn't hold a candle to it. But that would conflict with their ideology, and the ideology ends up trumping.
And that's too bad.
And now, if those people whose politics the people in charge of these companies agree with would say, hey, look, I'm as left as they come. This sucks. Because I know I said this before. They had a poll. 4 greatest female comic book characters ever created. Kamala Khan was on everybody's list. Everyone.
I like the character. I will not say a bad word.
I bet you can find 4 more better than her.
I bet I could find 10
probably
more.
I could find 4 in the Fem Force before
I could find
There
4
you go.
characters right here. If I'm looking behind Zach, you can just name off.
There's
all of
4
them.
up there.
Yeah,
But the
true
point
that
is,
but the thing is I think, and I've said this before, No bad characters, just bad writers.
No, but you get woke points for putting her on that list.
Right, right.
Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel was on a bunch of them.
Okay, I will say this: as written, bad character. And I will have this video up soon. I want to have it out on Friday because that's when I like putting up comic book origins. But it went from being a comic book origin of Kamala Khan to I really need to talk about this character because the first 11 issues, which was in that hardcover that I got from Ollie's, is everything wrong with modern comics. It's like right freaking there, especially when it comes to a Tom King or a Tom Taylor who might actually write a good first issue. Not Tom Taylor. He sucks like from beginning to end, but a Tom King will fool you. Tom King, he's the one that screws with you.
Yeah,
Tom King
he'll have you buy 5 issues of a miniseries before he spits in the face.
He'll be like, you know what? Here's a very cool, intriguing idea, and this is something cool we could do with it. As a matter of fact, let's expand that, and you'll see another way we could twist it. And I'm gonna fuck up the twist. And oh my gosh, you thought it was the twist, but now it's another twist. You see what I'm doing here? And here's my philosophy on life for the next 6 issues.
You know what I think it is? Well, it's not even Tom King for those first 6 issues. It's somebody else. And
no, he gets to about 5 issues into a series, and he remembers he has all these mommy issues.
There you go.
Well, no, he has one story, and he's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with Tom Taylor. It's
Yeah.
like he's got the same 3 tropes. And, you know, right now I'm reading this medieval fantasy series DC that he's doing. It's like, it's the same stuff.
I can't wait for Deceased Volume 12.
I'll still, I might
hey,
still.
Orc War, how you doing? Let's see. Do we've got Femforce? Femforce is loved around here.
What
Orc
origin? She has like 12 origin stories. Kamala Khan, at least in the past, what, 10?
I did a video. By the way, that is the lowest viewed video on my channel. It was the mini first appearances of Kamala Khan. It is the lowest viewed channel, and basically the video itself is really about how the first appearance and the cameo appearances. Yeah. What is the one that people are going for, like Wolverine 180, 181, so forth and so on. Femforce, awesome.
Nice.
But the thing is I don't think I've got enough viewers that give a about Kamala Khan. The magic bag has worked again.
Well, see, Zach likes LK's. LK had the white glare in it.
Another thing that's going on right now, they don't mind messing up the core of a character. They don't mind just messing up the character. I see here Invisible Woman is much better looking than Kamala Khan. Okay.
Yes.
Which version you're looking at?
And that made me think of just a few years back, or might have just 2 years ago, they did an Invisible Girl comic book.
Yeah, it was like a mini series
where she was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, the Adam Hughes cover.
It was before she got married.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm bored. I'm gonna join S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, no, if you read the story, it was.
Yeah, that's how it started. LK, it started. I'm bored. I'm gonna join S.H.I.E.L.D. She's the Invisible Girl. You couldn't come up with a better freaking. They have a problem of not understanding who the character is to the point where they'll go, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we made Thor a Hulk?"
Okay, I can't believe I'm trying to kind of like defend this story a little bit. But so it starts out as a flashback before she's married. She gets recruited by Nick Fury for this particular assignment to help out S.H.I.E.L.D. because her skills as being an invisible person, lends to it. And, she has another agent that she's working with. And then years later, she gets, Nick Fury comes knocking on the door again because the agent that, she thought was dead turns up. And then, that just kind of kicks off the rest of the story. It's not terrible. I think
he wasn't dead.
LK and Bendis sitting in a tree.
It wasn't Bendis. It was, I think, Wade.
Yeah,
was it Wade?
Yeah, it was Wade. There you go. Honestly,
to be fair though,
Kamala Khan is better out of the DC female superheroes, considering the fact that they have some crazy chick with deer antlers going around killing each other.
Oh yeah, the X-Men Green Girl.
Yeah,
Nature Girl.
Nature Girl.
Yeah, we were talking about that a couple of
Bullwinkle.
live streams ago.
Bullwinkle.
Yeah. But yes, it's just the thing is like I said, Hulk, Thor. They keep saying, wouldn't this be? Oh my gosh, Hulk with Wolverine claws. No,
they already got
stop.
What if Galactus was a herald?
I know. If Silver Surfer is Galactus's herald, who is Galactus the herald of?
His
Freaking mom. Nobody, you idiot. The whole point is he is this big, phenomenal cosmic being.
What if Galactus's mom was on a Defenders
that
team?
whole thing with the Sue Storm, Reed Richards not going to notice anyway. He's always in his lab. They always write him in his lab, ignoring Sue anyway. So he's not going to notice that she's been gone for a day.
Let me bring this back to what we were talking about originally.
Slaps?
Well, no,
we're going to get to that.
No, and when you do that, good, then I can leave. When you've been doing this as long as we have, or what I said about the characters, after so many years, maybe there are not any more good stories to tell. If there's just because it hasn't been done, maybe there's a reason why it hasn't been done. I said, I heard good things about the Black Bolt series, but I'm sorry. Black Bolt sitting in a jail cell, being besties with the absorbing man, yapping like like Elvini at the gossip fence on Snuffy Smith, should never have been done. Galactus as a herald should never have been done.
That's
dated reference. Okay.
That's exactly. Yeah, you make a great point on that.
And I also proved I've been doing this too
basically,
long because I used a Snuffy Smith reference.
Right. But that's what I'm getting at. They don't know the characters anymore, or at least maybe we just remember the wrong characters. We're remembering before All New All Suck and before New 52. And I'll tell you what, that sweet spot in DC Comics called Rebirth is gone. They're not bringing that shit.
So when are we getting Cosmic Wolverine?
As soon as Donnie Cates thinks of it.
Heat claws.
Are you sure we haven't gotten Cosmic Wolverine?
No.
Did we not?
Cosmic Avengers?
I know the claws can cut through anything, but imagine how much more anything it can cut through if they're hot.
Holy crap! He just
Well,
cut
no,
right
it
through
would be he could cut through the time space
Continuum.
and
I got a great idea. Okay, we're gonna write a She-Hulk book.
Don't.
About her going to get coffee. All it's gonna be. Yeah. So they I guess it's the editors.
I don't
and
care.
they need a strong editor in chief here. So
yeah, they need Tom DeFalco
All
back.
right, but if the editor on the She-Hulk book was a 25-year-old girl that got her job because Jordan White liked the sweater she was wearing at a show, that would be their frame of reference. I said, why wouldn't a book about getting coffee and then a YouTube bake-off not be perfectly acceptable?
Which, by the way, I don't think any of us will ever forget Cecil writing frickin' female furies. So yeah.
What if Wolverine's claws had claws?
What if they had
It's like that scene from Doctor Strange where his fingers have hands. Fingers.
I'm glad you went there because I was thinking Dr. Seuss, where you had the guy with the trombone. Which like,
and I think what you guys are talking about is having an overarching editor, or whatever position you want to call it, that's like part historian, part common sense editor to say, that would get like an outline of the story and go, hey, wait a minute, no, so and so doesn't act like this, never acted like this. And I know, like back in the early 2000s, I think it was, when one of the times when Chris Claremont came back to Marvel in more of an official capacity than he is now, is more like just like an emeritus writer or whatever the hell he is. He had kind of like an overseer editor position, where it was like, he wouldn't necessarily go in and knock down ideas, but he would say, hey, like this character wouldn't act like in a certain way.
Yeah, that's what needs to happen. At the very least, we wouldn't have gotten Civil War 3. Oh my gosh, yeah, here's a great idea. We have an Inhuman, right? And we're basically going to make Minority Report for the Marvel Universe, and we have a guy, he all of a sudden pops up with future-telling powers, and they want to fight, so they have somebody, they want to fight for him, so they have somebody who could tell the future, and you could have an editor to go, yeah, there's a lot of precogs in the Marvel Universe. You don't need this new guy. It's ridiculous storyline.
Well, you mentioned that, but I was curious if anybody else had heard, because it was mentioned on Wes's stream over the weekend that Secret Invasion by Ryan North has been canceled. But I haven't seen any confirmation of that.
Interesting.
I haven't seen anything to mention that, so I'm not sure exactly where that came from, or if somebody was just having.
I'm going to start a rumor right now that Marvel's going to hire Will Smith to slap people who get on the line.
Yeah. And speaking of, by the way, we'll wrap this up and we'll let Eric go.
So, Eric.
Out to pasture.
We've held him on for. He's been holding on for too long.
I am eternal.
Go to the light, Eric. Go to the light.
This is the respect we give him. So yeah, but overall, I understand that, yes, there's a lot of bad writing in comic books. And I think part of our inability to even glom onto some of it is because we are old enough, maybe not too old for the new stuff, but definitely old enough to remember the older stuff when these characters were treated with respect. You cannot tell me that modern day comic book writers treat the new characters or treat the older characters with respect when they say these are just fictional characters. We do know that. Nobody here is dumb enough to think these characters are running around somewhere in real life. But the thing is if you don't treat them as if they're real when you're writing them, then you can't make the reader believe they're real and get invested in your stories. So for as much as I'm willing to take some of the blame on this, definitely I think it still falls on the writers.
Well, you can't have it both ways, too. We're supposed to just accept any changes they want to make. But if you have a problem with it, then they have a problem with you. So, again, that's another thing I said. When one of the other problems just in society in general is we are speeding headlong towards a one opinion only society.
Yeah. Well, that's what they want. Yes.
Well, yeah. And so that also explains how we got the rise of the Vita Ayala writer. Was you cannot have any opinion of her other than that she's the greatest thing to happen to comics since the first woman broke into the industry in 2016.
Okay. There's another thing I wanted to talk about tonight. Eric, you're free to stick around because we're going to be talking about the comic book industry reacted to the slap heard around the world.
Well, this ought to be good.
And I thought it might be fun to go through a couple of these and get some takes. Some of them are
surprising to me.
Let me share it out. So, yeah.
Well, Eric, before you go, it's still 2-1.
Okay, so you can hang around, comment, and get game scores and such.
It's 2-1.
Yeah. Reds, Cubs, bottom of the fourth.
I am watching that.
This was collected, by the way. This was collected by Bleeding Cool. Ron Mars, Gail Simone, right out the gate. Sometimes both people are in the wrong, yes, but only one committed assault. That's my take on that one. Gail Simone, wait, what did that really happen? Holy man, this just isn't funny. Starting from Rock's joke. I actually didn't get it. I thought, oh, she's in G. My thought strictly went to she's going to be in J.I. Jane too. But I literally thought that. I had no idea about the.
I really want to point out though.
What?
There's a lot of women who shave their head like that.
Yeah. So
why would you be embarrassed about it? Put a wig on if you're that bad.
Okay, so this guy has to bring stupidity into it. I don't know who Alex Packnadel is.
I am a writer.
Absolutely not condoning violence of any kind, but except against Nazis, obviously. I know, that's exactly what I said. Oh. But there you go. Somehow suddenly comedians, leers, all licensed. What the freaking hell are you talking about? But what happened last night is indicative of a wider cultural shift. Somehow suddenly comedians, leers, all licensed fools. The freaking hell you talking about?
I don't know what that is.
That is somebody who thinks they're really smart and is dumb as an effing post.
Well, we're not writers, so we don't know.
You're right.
Yeah.
Paul Miotti says we now know who not to have a celebrity roast for. I thought that was clever.
That is pretty good. I like that.
Joe Glass. Oh wow! Trust the one time I don't watch the Oscars, something crazy happens. A lot of people have that. I believe that was what's his name? He popped on the war chief. Let's see. Rob Liefeld said, "Wow, I watch in real time, but that was crazy. This is the most nuts anything I've seen on live action." Rob, keep your personal life to yourself. We do not know which one of D's nuts you looking at. Jaden Smith says, and that's how we do it. Yeah, you act like a little.
Oh yeah, that's his son. Oh yeah, that's his son.
That was not a manly reaction.
To be fair, Jaden Smith saying that while he's dressed up in Drake.
Christos Gage says, following that altercation, I'm being told Will Smith's mom got scared. A lot of people did this and sent him to his auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
That is pretty funny.
I'm pretty sure we're breaking Will Smith. Okay, let's get to the new stuff. Will Smith's mama flying him right back out. There you go. Okay, 100% original, guys.
Yeah. Well,
now John Rippion is going with the "this is all fake" story.
I've seen several people that are going with that.
Yeah,
it's not.
No, it wasn't. Let's see. Just watch the uncut Australian TV clip. Chris Rock handled that exceptionally well. A lot of people are on Chris's side as far as this after seeing the whole thing. How Will Smith, he looked so small, and by that I mean, of course, just a small man. He looked so freaking.
He's cuckold.
Yes, exactly.
I'm reading Ryan Stegman's.
Yeah,
if a million people retweet this, I will slap Zdarsky at the next Tyson.
If he gets 2 million, will he do it to Donnie Cates? That would be more entertaining.
And of course, leave it to Andy Curry to have a grudge against somebody better than him.
And here's Judd Apatow saying that he could have killed him. That's pure out of control rage and violence. They've heard a million jokes about them in the last 3 decades. They are not freshmen in the world of Hollywood and comedy. He lost his mind. And that's what a lot of people think, because since that Red Table interview, I've seen a lot of, since the Red Table interview, he has been more and more hurt. He wants to hold on to something that isn't there. In all honesty, from watching that, from reading comments, from reading stories about them, which I have done a couple of today, she doesn't give a shit about him.
Oh no! Actually, read Miss comment. She is 100% right on.
Which one?
Miss So, where she says, "What I didn't realize was Will started laughing at the joke until he saw Jada's reaction. It was only then that he stopped and charged the stage to defend her honor."
That was actually brought up last night.
They don't have Alec Baldwin's comment on there saying that he's confused because Will Smith's hands is slapped by itself.
Let's see.
Oh, and F.T. Franklin. I mean, talk about somebody who should be just drummed out of whatever industry comics is left. I mean, she is an absolute just garbage human being.
What did she say?
Judd deleted that bull-s take, huh? I would too, with 1 out of 3.
17.3 thousand quote retweets. You know what? He's right.
Yeah,
he's kind of right.
He's right. And I'm sure her whole thing was, oh, he, oh, how funny. Oh yeah, go Will. Yeah, you defend the woman. Chris Rock was so wrong.
Let's see. Somebody, Amanda Dybert. Okay, but what if we just acknowledge that mocking people's looks, disability, design? Now, this is something I don't understand. Yeah, it's bad, but it's not assault. The words aren't violence. So there is no equivalence of I tell a bad joke, you come and punch me.
Well, this is also.
Have you watched society in these nut jobs in the last 2 decades?
This is the reaction.
How words are violence.
This is reaction to when comedy is only allowed to have one acceptable target.
Ooh,
You got a lot of people that can't understand that jokes are not supposed to be safe.
I like
Okay,
JoJo.
Frank Cho.
Yeah,
for the
Frank
win.
Cho says, "Wow, Will Smith assaulted Chris Rock live on stage after he makes a tame joke about Will Smith's wife's short hair." 3 takeaways: 1, Will Smith can't take a joke. 2, Chris Rock can take a punch. 3, Will Smith is going to get roasted on the internet for his violent reaction for a long time.
Oh,
Mark and Draco,
I will
whom,
be
by the
buying
way,
the
is
next
one of the
Frank Cho
most
book.
Mark and Draco is one of the most underrated writers in comics, I think. Will Smith can go and take that Oscar and shove it up his humorless, arrogant ass. Odds that WB announces they are not pursuing an I Am Legend sequel now.
Or a reboot.
Yeah. Mark and Draco, by the way, was the I got respect for him because he's the one that came up with the Love is Love book for the victims of the Pulse down here in Florida. Joe Jusko, I saw it after the fact, but the Will Smith thing is a perfect example of why I've lost all interest in watching the Oscars. I grew up on them. My parents looked forward to them every year, and I continue that tradition for at least 50 years. Hey, me too. It was once one of the only places you could actually go to see movie stars in real life. It was an event for me. As social media expanded and movie stars became more ubiquitous and vocal, I realized I didn't want to hear them talk off screen and actually disliked many of them. I stopped watching. It wasn't special for me anymore. I really like Will Smith, always have. I've seen every movie he's made. I haven't seen King Richard yet, but plan to. He's hugely talented, entertaining guy, but tonight he turned the Oscars once the classiest award show in existence. Take care, honey, be safe. She's going to go get our daughter. Once the classiest award shows in existence into the WWE version of the MTV Music Awards. People lost restraint.
Hey.
They've lost composure. They've lost decorum. I sound old, but it's really sad to see. But he's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's right, though.
100% right.
He's right, though.
If Will Smith thinks Chris Rock was offensive, he better never listen to Nick DiPaolo. Yep. Let's see. Mia Farrow says it was a joke. Jokes are what Chris Rock does, which is what I was saying last night. Always has been edgy. This was mild for him, and I love G.I. Jane. In all honesty, I got to tell you, I didn't get the joke until afterwards, until I read up a little.
I'm just thinking Ricky Gervais would have throat checked him.
I don't know. I forgot Whitine has a daughter. You should put her on the show and show off her art more. Sweet girl. I had a conversation with her and because we were talking about art. She says, you know what I just realized? And I said, what? I hate drawing.
Oh,
whoa, hold on. What? That kind of shocked me. She goes, but I see it as a necessary step to coloring. And I was like, I knew it. I told you guys. I told you she's a really good artist, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's not just, and I told her this. I said, this is not just a proud dad. This is a man who's been looking at comic book art for 45 years. I look at your stuff and I go, wow, you're good. But her coloring is some of the best I've ever seen.
that is the thing you always do go back to when you show it off.
Her coloring is amazing. She's one of the best colorists I have ever seen in my entire life. And I am not just saying, oh, wow, of course, for the dad, because I never want to be that for her. If she puts out something that's less, I don't want to be rude about it, but I have to be able to go, you can do better. But you guys have seen it. She's really good. But I talked to her. So why don't you come show it off? She goes, I told her, I bought her a couple of coloring books with the superheroes. I said, just why don't you color these? See if you could sell the pages. See if you can ink them, you can color them, and then maybe you could sell the pages for a couple of bucks each. I said, why don't you? She goes, I've got bad memories of the auction, which was just like a slap in the face. I was like, wait a second. Everybody loves your art. I mean, she goes, yeah, but I felt like I was working my ass off for $10.
At a hustle.
Yeah, that's what that's what it was. And I kind of figured she thought maybe I was, and that's on me. I undersold her. I guess.
I mean, the rest of these, Andy Curry.
But I did point out, I said, but the ones that you really worked on, and that is, of course, the Killing Note. You remember that?
Yeah.
Picture had Ryako instead of the Joker in the camera. It was Ryuk and the apple. And the one with the guy, he was doing the pose from the Amazing Spider-Man Craven's Last Hunt.
Yeah,
where he's coming out of it.
The villain from.
If I remember correctly, those went for like $40 or $50 each. And she was like, yeah, that's true. That's true. So, but yeah, I would love to bring her in and show off her art. She is incredible.
50 cents is funny. Why is 50 Cent up here with all the comic book creators? Did he do a comic?
I know, right? Bitch, don't you ever play with me. Seems like Chris Rock says Eric Jones would should have probably not commented on Jada Pinkett Smith's hair, and Will Smith probably should have refrained from physically attacking him on live TV. This feels like one of those everybody sucks here scenarios. But yes, once again, I feel like I need to point out only one of them is a crime.
Okay. Oh, don't skip over Mark Brooks.
Yeah, you're skipping over
yeah,
people.
Mark Brooks. This is the take I don't agree with that he
Remember,
had.
artists, the next time someone comes to your table thinking they could talk bullshit without you doing anything, use your non-drawing hand when you Will Smith them. That's actually
it's great for the people who don't draw. We can use both hands.
You talk about somebody whose books I will never, ever, ever buy again. If Mark Brooks' name is on it, I will.
Is this a moral thing or because he sucks?
He's a pile of human garbage.
Mm-hmm.
The crap he spews on Twitter is just unbelievable, and he can go jump off a short pier.
Okay, let's see.
Why buy his art when you can just right-click save as?
It's really easy to say that violence isn't the answer, but also why the hell does Chris Rock get to degrade Jada in front of 10 million people and face no consequences? Because it's his job.
Yeah, and Ashley Lynch is a
freaking moron.
Video game person that got 10 minutes of fame because she did a freaking voice in Borderlands and some other garbage.
Eric, you were about to say something?
No, I was going to say, who in the blue hell is Ashley Lynch? And also,
you know what, Breen?
Real quick, before you go on, we were talking about this backstage. What if The Rock had made that joke? You think Will Smith's going up there and smacking him?
Not even a little bit. It'd be like, funny joke there, Dwayne.
No, he'd be like, Jada, get your own ass up there.
Do you guys ever watch Key and Peele?
Occasionally.
There's
Ron.
There's a skit they do with this Peele is dressed as a girl called Megan and her boyfriend, and one of them is she just goes off on on increasingly bigger and tougher guys. Where it's like, oh no, you didn't do that to me. You don't do this. And then like the guy will say, you need to get a hold of your bitch. And so Megan looks at the boyfriend, which is the Keegan guy, and he goes, and he starts to punch, and he just keeps getting his ass whipped. That would have been Will Smith versus The Rock. He'll be like, good joke there, and there's Jada.
Me, Will Smith would have grabbed
and he'll go, he'll walk over and try to punch The Rock.
Conan O'Brien's comment, by the way, I laughed out loud.
Yeah, does anybody just saw Will Smith slap? Does anybody have a late night show I can borrow?
He'd be better off going on YouTube and doing a live stream. You'd probably get twice the audience.
I found the
T'Challa. No, you get 10 times the audience, sir.
I found the T'Challa meme from Infinity Warriors. Get this man a shield. I said, get that man a show.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, wait, don't skip over another Andy Corey quote.
Who?
His long one about how maybe we should have done this to Trump.
This one's messy. I'm not passing judgment.
Go up one more.
You're skipping a bunch of them if you scroll down.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Which one?
Right there at the top.
Right there. I think maybe the never-ending excuse for violence.
I think maybe the never-ending excuse for violence idea is not really something I totally agree with. There's violence and then there's violence, you know? Like maybe teenage Donnie Trump could have had the shit kicked out of him a little, might have changed the world.
Maybe.
Wow. What?
Hey, Andy, go hire another child rapist.
So.
Yeah. Never let it be forgotten. This man destroyed Vertigo.
Yeah.
Destroyed a at least one, if not two, comic news sites because he is such a garbage individual with these far left progressive ideals, and he's just an a-hole.
There you go. Tom Feister says,
good points.
I think there are moments when violence is unavoidable. This was not one of those moments. As for Trump, imagine how 2016 race would have changed had Ted Cruz smacked Trump for saying such terrible things about his wife. I think Ted Cruz should have stood up for his wife. I don't think that it should have gotten violent, but yeah, he could have, look, Don, you know, it maybe even said, you go after me, go after my policies, go after my wife and kids, this will get physical. You know, that's something like that. I think Ted Cruz would have been elevated a bit, but you don't actually freaking punch because that's a crime. I'm not sure what I feel about it all, says Keel Fegley, whatever that is. I'm pretty sure it's possible to both feel what Will did was inappropriate while also not feeling bad for Chris Rock. Okay. Grace Randolph. Wow.
Yeah, not a fan of that one.
Why is she even here?
Yeah.
Wait, she did have a comic book, I think.
Did she?
Yeah.
No, she's here because she's a pop culture person, and Rich Johnson's a butt
She
sniffer.
did a comic book. I remember because I saw the name. It was I sold it on the auction. I didn't even know it was a Randolph book. He is still clearly very shaken by what was said about JD, his choice to stand up to the abuse today of public figures, people of color, blah. You know what? You lost me.
Is she the cosplay lass that's on Twitter?
No,
We
no.
will surely speak on this more all week, as will others, as this is discussed. I think it's important to remember the bottom line is that violence is not acceptable. I'm sure Smith wishes he handled that better. For some reason, and I got this comment more than a couple of times on the video we did last night. For some reason, we're supposed to look at violence between black people differently than violence between white people or violence between a black person and a white person. This, by the way, is a rule that has been told to me, not suggested. It hasn't been like, oh, you don't understand this. It has been told to me as if I broke some sort of freaking rule that violence between black people is different and should be left alone. The Oscars did not become, we were not allowed to watch the Oscars after the slap because, and that's, there you go. There you go. But which was just freaking incredibly bad. What a bad take that is. So yes, Grace, you're full of crap.
She usually is.
Yeah.
Bob Fingerman says it's a shame that the most repugnant moment of the Oscars was also the only interesting one. I disagree, but there weren't a lot. I will have to add that the second most repugnant moment was Will Smith's acceptance speech, which was pretty much a case study in narcissism, megalomania, and messiah complex.
Ooh.
Golf clap.
Yeah. I'll give him that.
All righty, Bob Finger. Oh, Bill Sankovic. He's back. Sienkiewicz.
He had several.
I actually saw it as a news flash with the video. No mention of any winners. Just a can't wait to see how the right-wing media runs with this. There is already enough crap about out of touch Hollywood elites.
He's right about the Holly weird.
Now, what? Okay, I can't wait to hear right-wing people talk about this because they're going to talk about Hollywood elites, which I am calling them right now. That just doesn't make sense. Normally would agree, but okay, Bob Fingerman, I could just as easily see them seeing this as finally Hollywood getting in touch with Americans' gestalt. Normally would agree, but I have my doubts because right-wing and darker skin color never seem to work well together.
The same black.
Go fuck yourself.
Darker skin color.
Okay, by the way, anybody remember the 2016 primaries?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody remember
vividly.
the 2016 primaries?
Vividly.
Could you please describe the Republican primaries for the 2016? Oh yeah,
Very large and diverse.
Black Indian, black Donald Trump, and Ted Cruz. By the way, Hispanic. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and yes, I get it. The old white guy, but he mowed through all of them.
Oh, you mean like 2020 with the Democrats?
Yeah. Well, remember that the biggest white bread candidate got crushed in the 2016 Republican primary.
That was freaking
The excitement of Jeb
Bush.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he was
forgot
our
about him.
governor for a day.
I liked Howard Dean.
I was for.
Okay, so Chris Conroy says, here is as big a take as I will offer. It's probably time to accept the fact that after the last several years, this is just how messy society is now. Everyone is wounded. Nothing is healing. Every unspoken code of social cohesion has been violated. There's no map for these territories, and people are just stumbling through it all, slamming into other people. The end. The Oscars have always been about putting on a brave face and putting on the smoothest public performance you can. And this, I'm afraid, is the actual level of keeping it together we can manage collectively. Or, and this is an alternate take, and I get it. It's one guy who's really hurt bad by the fact that his wife is fucking other women and everyone knows about it and makes jokes about it constantly. He still loves her while he understands, at least in his soul, that she doesn't love him as much. Because if she did, the other guys wouldn't matter. Okay, so that I know it's a wild take that it's just these people. Mustafa. No, nobody. Okay.
Mufasa?
I think it means something like love of God or something. I could be yeah. I could be in the green room at the Laugh Factory with the biggest comedians on earth, and the second they insult my wife, they are no longer comedians. They are people who insulted my wife. Shout out to the people taking this in bad faith, like I'm saying I'd fight them all. There's a line between when someone is being a comedian and an asshole, and Chris Rock was being a comedian. Different for everyone. The notion that comedians can say whatever they want because they are jesters is specious. When they're on stage and he said it good-naturedly, it's a joke. If you go to a comedy club, the people around you may be insulted. It's part of the fun of it. And yes, there is a bridge too far, but it's still assault. I would hope that I wouldn't hurt somebody, but I understand. I have been in situations where my wife has had to calm me down. Thankfully, I have discovered things that help me calm down.
I just want to put all the snowflakes in one room, and God forbid, I mean, if John Rickles is still alive, have John Rickles just go just insult every one of them.
Jada loves a Will Smith payday. Well, let's see. Also, Bobby Jindal. Yeah, that was the.
That was our governor for a hot minute.
I loved when the moderator asked the Ohio governor if he was on the right stage. Ibrahim might mean son of Abraham.
Yeah, maybe.
I heard it. It was in a Freddie Mercury. It was in a Freddie Mercury documentary I saw, and I was like, "Oh wait, that's the lyrics." There's actually a song that starts off with Ibrahim Mustafa. So. Okay, I had zero access to Oscars telecast tonight, so this is all Twitter looks like to me right now. I get it.
That's accurate.
Let's see. This is an insane sequence. Will appear to laugh at the jokes as Jada rolls her eyes. Then seconds later, Will walks up, all of a sudden angry. I know, right? I want to see that scene between him laughing and him walking up. I want to see that reaction.
Chris Rock, if it would have been Chris Rock and actually like wanted to fire back, all you had to say is like, you don't want me with your wife's name in my mouth. You should worry about the guys that are in her mouth.
Well, I mean, people have been saying that. That's not new.
Well, guarantee you that footage has already been deleted.
And Brian Truitt says yes. Once again, also the security just letting this happen is puzzling. Well, here's my thinking on it. Nobody. I saw him walking up there, and I was thinking, okay, so what's going to happen? I was thinking it was going to be some sort of joke. you know, like a little playful thing. I did not, and even when he slapped him, he turns around. He kind of has almost.
He's got a
smirk on him.
smirk. Yeah.
And I thought it was a joke all the way to the point where I saw the extended version, and you see him get my wife's dick out of your mouth or something like that. So
Mount,
yeah,
name.
That's a whole different show.
Name Dick. Okay. So Barbara Vandenberg then replies, I mean, I would find it very hard to make the call to rush security on Will Smith. I get the freeze. I would bet they would probably thought it was a bit also. I'm curious to know if that joke was workshopped. Yeah, a lot of people are wondering that, but I don't see it.
Well, I heard
here's somebody we love.
Yeah.
Who?
Tess Fowler says, a lot of people out here anxious to see a black man cuffed and handed over to the LAPD, but I'm damn sure if it was Pitt, I'll say, and Leo, that's all I'm saying.
Of course, Tess Fowler has another just awful take.
I wound up with a
being.
fever earlier this evening, so I'm taking my ass to bed. I have a commission to finish in the morning. Wait, someone's paying her to work?
What a lie.
Oh,
What
it's a
lie.
joke. It's just a long setup of a
Well,
joke.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the reason security didn't go out there because they look bad.
Yeah, okay, here's what I think would happen. Here's what I think would happen. Okay. Leonardo DiCaprio goes up and bitch slaps Chris Rock. Chris Rock jumps onto Leo DiCaprio. But Leo doesn't go to jail either. He doesn't get handcuffed. It's the same reaction. However, Leo would deserve to. Same difference. Now, Brad Pitt walks up to knock the hell out of Chris Rock. Chris Rock goes down like a sack of flour. Just that's my guess. But I would have thought that with Will Smith too. So I could be wrong.
Yeah, like I said, if it was,
I saw people were out like, why did Will Smith go at him with open hand? It's because paper beats rock.
There you go. That also might be the difference. If Pitt goes up there, it could have been, you know, and I think because if you look, he isn't open hand like this.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's
he
more
is
like
like this.
karate chop.
There is, you're going to have some force behind that. Good job, Chris Rock. That's all I got to say. Aaron Sparrow. Despite everything, you have to allow Will Smith his emotions tonight. I mean, tonight's Oscars featured the first hit he's been involved in for years.
That is true.
All righty. Mark Brooks says every Oscar-nominated director, actor, producer, composer, editor, and key grip is pissed as hell right now because no one's remembering anything. We actually did a live stream on the movie channel and when we talked about that. Nobody cares.
No one cares about Bruno.
Nobody will watch the ones that talk about the Oscars. It's a about the slap. Rob Williams, I got in a fight. My mom got scared. Right.
If it wasn't for the slap, no one would give a shit about the Oscars anyways.
No, it would be done. Yeah. Oh, this one should be good. Danny Lohr says, I think when it comes to a lot of isms, a lot of you need to come to terms with the fact that rarely, if ever, has been kind and meek and using your words ever gone any distance in solving them. MLK was nonviolent, but it was people viewing the violence done upon him that moved the needle, and he was still murdered and hated. No ism has been erased by respectability.
Wow, that's a great attitude.
Oh, that's a dumbass. That's one of the dumbest takes of it all.
This is where I need the meme of everybody has become dumber for listening to you. You earn no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
You just need to smack a bitch. That's basically what he just said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The myth of appropriateness has been sold hard. Bullies don't stop because you ask them nicely. Chris Rock wasn't a bully.
The difference between Jada
Will Smith was the bully, or actually Jada Smith was the bully.
Is anybody surprised that the person that got work just because Vita Ayala had more than she could do would have a bad take?
My question is, did she tell him to do it because slap him? Because she would have punched him. She knew that Will's weak. You know, didn't want to, because if she punched him, she'd go to jail. That's actually assault. Slap
Yeah.
is not.
Maybe, but the way it
No.
looked, I just get this this manipulator vibe off of it. She knows she's got Will in the palm of his
Oh,
hand.
she's Fish Mahoney.
Look, she's got the money.
Shmoony.
She has the money. She has the power that comes along with being one of Hollywood's power couples, and she is free to go see the people that she truly likes.
Everyone but her husband.
And right now we saw that she's got a bulldog. Anytime she gets mad, Will Smith can go up and try to beat the shit out of someone.
Did I do good? Can I get a treat? No.
Yeah, with
Okay,
a
so,
bitch-ass slap.
They never have, and yet we continue pretending. What are we laughing at?
I love it. Okay, his impersonation there.
No.
Oh, that was funny.
Let's see. Oh man, they're just going down the same thing here. They never have, and yet we continue pretending that sitting in pain while you and your loved ones keep getting bullied.
No.
Chris Rock wasn't a
Kenny
bully.
Moore can go to hell. I'm sorry. I'm so sick of these people and just their self-internalizing and their victimhood and all this other nonsense. I mean, and this is what we get in comics. I mean, it's no surprise the modern day comics we get are garbage.
The now Jody Hauser saying, yeah, joking about someone's appearance that's illness related is definitely out of line, but assault is so very much not the right response. I
can get behind that.
So and we said this last night where we're saying, you know, if he had gone up and just kind of you went over the line on this one.
There's so many sayings like, how dare you insult a woman, especially on TV, like, you know, you shouldn't do it at all. It's like, no, if you dispel or not, you get made fun of. That's the whole point of comedy. Hecklers get made fun of, you know.
Yeah. If you are on screen and you are putting yourself out there, someone's going to insult you. We aren't that famous. Yet all of us get made fun of all the time.
Well, that was what the Steve Martin and Martin Short were doing that, and they go around their tour a couple of years ago back, and they said, you make fun of everybody. You're all fair game. no one can run or hide from us. You know, if you don't want to be here, then leave. But
I love what a little pussy Nick Gonzo is backing down to Chloe Green, whoever the hell she is.
The future is nuts. I just woke up to the news. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air smacked Chris Rock on live TV for making a joke about the 1996 film G.I. Jane. The fact I had to Google what the joke meant probably means it's not worth the slapping over. I just thought Chris Rock was calling Will Smith's wife a shitty actor. Chloe Green says, the joke wasn't aimed at you, Nicholas. Will Smith. I don't know if she sounds like this, I'm assuming.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Will Smith didn't slap someone for you. I don't really condone the slapping of comedy hosts at TV events at all. I hate to say it, but whilst I would stage invade to diffuse the situation differently, I wouldn't slap Chris Rock for you. Maybe the execution was wrong, but he made jokes about a disease, something Jada has cleared. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I'm not a biologist. She could sound like that.
She looked absolutely gutted. No, she didn't.
She was pissed.
She didn't even look pissed. She looked indignified. She's a very arrogant bitch and always has been. Also, Chris Rock is a shit person. Okay.
I mean,
well, there you go. No, I mean.
No. I mean everybody. Oh, no, not in this context. No.
I'll tell you why. Now, Chloe Green is calling Chris Rock a shit person for cheating on his wife. We've all heard. By the way, Chris Rock has also apologized and said he's been a shitty person. He knows what he has done and is trying to make himself a better person. That being said, Jada Pinkett Smith lords it over Will Smith as well. We see a broken man when we look at Will Smith. That reaction last night was the reaction of a broken man. That is the truth of the matter. That is not a speculation. You look at him. You look at that conversation around the red table. You watch him in interviews. You watch him in before and after interviews. And you will see that Will Smith is not the same Will Smith that we've always had. Now, she is going about trying to stand up for one doing the same thing as the other. It's ridiculous.
Jim Soros and I agree. Like, I know the data was such an illness. Black women with short hair is all over the place in Hollywood. So.
Oh yeah, no. The man said a shitty thing belittling a woman's fight with a medical illness, but he slapped a dude at the Oscars. I feel there are better ways he would have taken him down. He's Will Smith. Chris Rock deserves to get knocked the F out, says Jeffrey Barron, without giving us a reason. If Chris Rock made a joke about my wife on international television, I'd probably hit him in the effing face too, says Veronica Jane.
No, Veronica, you'd slap him.
And M. Cupper, I thought it was the craziest thing. The craziest thing you'd see at the Oscars was Jared Leto riding on someone else's shoulder. So
I actually want to see that now. Can we get that next year?
There is a part 2 to this, but damn, that's a lot of quotes there, guys. Once again, my take is very simple. I've mentioned it too.
Amy Schumer is the host.
Yeah.
It was one of 3, and yeah. No, I just wanted to point out 2 things, at least that I've read. So these are rumors, how true they are or not. But number 1 is, supposedly, yes, this joke was told in rehearsals. Will Smith was there. Nobody had an issue with it during rehearsals. And then number 2 is, as I saw somebody who talked about it, said, if you watch Chris Rock's reaction after he gets slapped and Will Smith goes and sit down, then he says, oh wow, Will Smith just slapped the S out of me. He was ready to destroy Will Smith.
Oh yeah, watch the hand in the back. He kind of pulls back. He was ready.
Well, no, I mean destroy in terms of jokes.
Oh,
like when Will Smith went and sat back down, he had that wry smile on his face. And he said, "Wow, Will Smith just hit the S out of me." And then when Smith started popping off about don't ever put your my wife's name in your mouth again, whatever. He was ready to fire off some jokes, but he held back.
Yeah,
never screw with a comedian.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have blamed him if he just went off on him for a while. Let's see. I'm just kind of going through a little. My opinion is both guys were out of line. It was a crappy joke at her expense as well. Nobody would resort to. It's the physical violence. I'm sorry. Oh, that T. Franklin followed up with, if you follow me and have an issue with what I said about Chris Rock getting what he deserved, unfollow me. But what we're not going to do is tell black disabled women, she's not disabled, you freaking moron. Who is T. Franklin?
She's Eat, Bang, Kill.
One of the worst comic books of the year.
Oh, wait, that's her?
Yeah.
She's the one that did the self-insert.
And so what's so funny is initially I thought she was going to wind up being Max Visaggio 3.0 or Vita
You just
Ayala
got it,
2.0.
didn't you?
Yeah. She had stayed
moron.
quiet and it wormed her way into the comic book industry because she started out as some effing comic book blogger bullshit, and then you would see her pop up as hosting panels and nonsense, and then suddenly, oh, she's a comic book writer. But now she's popping off. Her Twitter feed is just absolute 100% trash. She talks about getting high all the time. She talks about getting high all the time because she's just, because she's so far up on the progressive stack, Eric. She's black, she's queer, and she's disabled. She's the trifecta. And the fact that she's still writing DC Comics just shows what a sorry state DC is in.
I'm trying to find somebody I actually recognize the name to. Ramsey. The Roy Batty speech from Blade Runner, but it's Beyonce talking about things she's seen at public events. Kanye and Swift. Fergie singing the national anthem. The slap. Okay, that was all right. G. Willow Wilson. I don't understand how people can watch the steady decline of social, political, and economic stability over the last 10 years and yet decide that one televised slap is the end of civilization. There was, for real, an attempted coup like a year ago. Really? Where? Because I know it wasn't in Washington, D.C., ignorance.
Yeah, she got about halfway through that take.
I know, right? She was good to go.
She pulled it.
When I woke up this morning, but instead I am getting hot takes from the likes of which I haven't seen since episode
That was a Tom King. That was a Tom King.
Yeah.
To be fair, the only clue that happened was in 2020.
And Johnny Salvo says, if The Rock made that joke instead of Chris Rock, I bet Will Smith stays seated and keeps his mouth shut.
Yeah.
Jim Rome used to say, "Have a take and don't suck." Well, she almost got it.
She was halfway there.
And again, I mean, let's point out the only people who think this is some downfall of civilization nonsense are the stupid blue check marks on Twitter and all the people who follow the Hollywood crap. The rest of us are just kind of laughing and chuckling at it and don't give a damn.
So I guess the next person I recognize the name to is Mitch Gerards, who says, woke up to one tweeter calling me a racist, another an ableist, and another saying I condone pedophilia for tweeting that I missed decorum. that is Twitter, ladies and gentlemen.
That is accurate.
Let's see. Pete Wood says, looking at Smith's face after that, there's so much emotional pain behind what he did. All right, I'm done with that already.
Oh, the Ron Jeremy there.
Who? Ron Jeremy?
Oh.
What?
Don't Google that.
Is he tweeting from a jail cell?
Veronica Jane. Twitter. All rich people should be sent to the guillotine. Also Twitter. Hang on. Did one millionaire just slap another millionaire? Call the police. This is the worst crime imaginable.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know the names of any of these guys. Yeah, I'm so out of freaking touch.
I'm in the
yeah, Gary, the uncensored profanity afterwards that was cut from the live broadcast is not scripted. The VHS footage posted online showed Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry, and others confront. By the way, somebody named Kyla 2101 or something like that freaking copyright claimed my video.
I heard
and
about
YouTube freaking went with it.
Wait a second. Time to dig in and see who the hell Kyla 2021 is.
No bitch named Kyla 2021 owns the freaking Oscars, okay? YouTube, can you get your freaking collective heads out of your collective asses? Because at this point, I don't even think you've got your heads up your own asses. I think you're some sort of freaking screwed up daisy chain of ass with your own heads. It's really just messed up these days. Holy freaking crap. I was on the phone, and then I'm not on the phone, but I went on YouTube. They have this thing. Oh, you could chat to a person now. And I'm like, good. Okay, good. I'm talking to you. This person is freaking abusing something. It should be fair use because it's new and we're talking over the footage in the first place, trying to claim 45 seconds of a 2-hour video, excuse me. Bitch, you're about to make me smile, all right? Anyway, this
Eric, he's on a roll. Just let him go.
So he freaking they literally say, well, I'm gonna have to look into this. Okay, I'm going to send you to the expert. I sent you an email. Did you get it? Yes. Okay, I'm out. Bye. Have a good day. So I go to the email and it tells me to report a freaking claim, do exactly what I goddamn just did. The freakers, they sent me on a goddamn circle. Fuck you, YouTube.
You don't think that deserved musical accompaniment? Okay.
No.
I was waiting for the air sirens.
How would you feel about this if Will Smith is a white man and says racist Sam Thillman? The same way. And Chris Rock was a robot instead of the Oscars. It was the Tyson's Corner Appleby. I thought he was okay. I like this one.
The person that
which one?
Sam Thielman. How would you feel about all of this if Smith was a white man and Chris Rock was a robot, and instead of the Oscars, they were at the Tyson's Corner Applebee's, and everybody was wearing roller skates for some reason?
For some reason, I'm now thinking it like this should be an episode of the Dundies from The Office or something.
I gotta say though that that person that copyrighted that 45 seconds could have been the person that actually was at the Oscars, and that's just their username for YouTube.
That was actually what I thought until no, it wasn't anybody's freaking. They don't allow that shit.
I know.
So no, this wasn't somebody freaking filming. It was it belongs to the Oscars. It belongs to whomever is running that particular show. And if that was the case that they got mad, why not shut down the entire thing? Because I showed that video like 6 or 7 times. It was just this 45 seconds. let's see. Smith has very few peers to demonstrate that he hit a man on live television. Then he got applauded shortly after. The only other person with that kind of privilege is Donald Trump. The only case where Smith could be justified in hitting the Rock would be if Rock had hit Pinkett. It was a crap joke, but they are enormously privileged public figures. There you go. I wonder if the Snyder Cut fans have started to theorize that the slap was an intentional way to minimize their big Oscar win. There you go. There you go.
It's not fair they get all the Snyder hate. That's
right?
Not right. Let's
That
enjoy
dude
the moment.
got paid for collecting comments. Hey, good work if you can get it. I'm hoping that the views are enough here that I get paid a little something for reading them off. Chris Rock needs to host the Oscars next year and come on stage in full catcher's gear. That would be actually pretty.
That
good.
would be funny. I would laugh at that joke.
I doubt it'll happen. They will just try and sweep this all under the rug. Trust me, you're not going to see this show up in 10 years from now. Oscar, wacky moments retrospective. David, the streaker, go across
David Niven streaker and the slap.
Yeah.
I was watching Hot Shots.
Marlon Brando's Caucasian Indian girl.
I was watching that.
I'm not kidding. The Marlon Brando wanted to protest the Oscars, so he sent an actress to play an Indian girl. She's Jewish. She wasn't an Indian, and she's going up there and she's reading off a letter about the plight of the Indians and how they're treated poorly in westerns. Go figure.
Hot Trends were making fun of this. They're saying Chris Rock, man, you just gonna let a guy slap you? You should have ducked back and then shot him in the ribs with the uppercut.
Yeah, we do know that at the very least, Will Smith took some boxing lessons to play Muhammad Ali.
No, he's just great of an actor. He can pass himself to make him look like a manly man, but in reality,
I don't know. I think he probably knows more than that. I mean, he took gun safety classes. Clearly, if you watch the behind the scenes stuff
there's
Suicide Squad.
There's an interview. You ever watch those GQ? Let me talk about my entire career videos. Nope. I do, and I like him. Eric Bana said that one of the reasons why he likes to take a lot of different roles is because in order to prepare for them, we get access to the greatest teachers for all sorts of skills.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And he said, and that is one thing. If you've got an actor, like say Tom Cruise is probably taking so many fighting classes, something had to stick. Same with Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's a dancer, guys. But over freaking 40 years worth of martial arts movies have made him a good fighter. Go figure. But that's the way he started. He was a dancer, starts off as a stuntman. Now he can do all these martial art moves and everything. So
that's what I used to love. When I was really into it, I would watch the behind the scenes stuff on the Lord of the Rings movies. Mm-hmm. And they would have the guy who taught the lightsaber training. He's this classic trained swordsman that would teach them how to do all the sword fighting moves. I was just
Harvey Keitel learned how to fence for the duel. And if you watch that movie, that's some of the best swordplay. That's some of the best fencing ever.
Oh, okay.
Ronnie's bringing up a good topic here.
Is anyone going to focus or discuss Tom King did to Eric's favorite Green Lantern and Human Target? Yeah, I guess it's behind me. Anybody want to bring this up? Because I haven't read it yet.
But golly gee whiz, I can't believe they killed me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just
what?
Simply
put, long enough.
Simply put, it's classic Tom King. He, it's his one trick pony of, taking a character that people, care about, twisting him into some bizarre character for his own purposes, and then, dispatching him the way he did. It's just, so
not to mention, and on top of that, just writing Ice as out of character, not in this issue, but through the whole series, Ice has been extremely out of character.
He wrote all three of them out of character. I used to read Human Target when it was written well. And the thing about it was, Christopher Chance had zero connection with the superhero community. It was all about, more of kind of helping regular people in doing things like that. And the whole thing about being a human target was he would go and take their identity and subsume it, to basically take their place and take the bullet that was meant for them, kind of thing.
Hey, Guy, how you been? Guy Gardner's got him up against the wall. You don't belong here. He then hits the human target. The human target holds on to his throat. Last time I saw a guy, I tricked him into giving up his ring. Then I punched him in his stupid face. I hope that would have taught him something. Ice stands up, says, Guy, get the F out of my house. I hope for a lot of things, says the human target. Guy says, come on, baby. You don't want to do this, I guess, crap to me. Do you know what I had to do to, and she throws ice at him. Did I say let's have a talk? Ice says as she's pointing her icy hand towards him and throws more ice at him. And Gardner says, baby, honey, you got to listen to me. Listen to me. This guy's poison. I'm telling you, you and me are important. We mean more ice thrown. Or did I say get the F out of my house? Guy Gardner says, that's enough of that, baby, isn't it? It's cute and you're real cute, but you, and she fires more ice. He blocks it. Baby, honey, please think this through. I'm a big boy. You don't want to do this. She says, oh, Guy, my poor one, you still have no idea how little you are. And then he goes, Herm, and he tries to punch ice. Of all people?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically what Tom King did, and again, I'll call him a plagiarist or just a copier. I mean, he basically took like a TV drama script of, the classic story of, some guy falling in, with a damaged woman, and then here comes the abusive boyfriend, into the trailer
he's
park.
saying bad baby, bad, F you. We've done this before, says the target. I shoot, he blocks it. And Guy Gardner's beating the shit out of Ice, saying, you need to learn what's good for you. And then Target says, then he gets real mad and I get real hurt. Target says, which is exactly what I need. Oh, I guess this is the thoughts of Ice.
Oh,
it's not made clear, but then the human target shoots and Gardner blocks it.
Can you show a visual instead of just reading it?
No, I can't.
No.
Anyway,
I tried. It says not very smart. And then we see him throw a mace at him. And then when he decides to put even an ounce of that into me, well, it can't get awful. And I guess Ice kills him. Oh, Ice freezes him.
Yeah.
Marty pointed out in the chat. She says, King wrote Guy as a stalker, abusive boyfriend, and Ice ended up freezing him. And the frozen guy was shattered.
And then, oh my gosh. Yeah.
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 And then we get
Holy
Pornbots.
shit.
Exactly, we said that.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, I'll throw this out there. I mean, this might have been a minor plot point in an episode of Justified. You could totally see this as, Raylan, trying to protect, the battered woman, and then the abusive boyfriend shows up, and one thing leads to another, and she winds up shooting him, and then Raylan has to help her cover it up.
And then we find out that Ice is the villain of the story all along. This is, by the way, the first issue. I just read 4 or 5 pages of the human target. That's the first 4 or 5 pages I've read of this story. And wow, does that suck?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Did this guy ever even hear of Guy Gardner and Ice before he did this?
I'm not thinking so.
If this story were half not suck, the twist would be it's not the real Guy Gardner or the real Ice.
It's a scroll.
Tom King doesn't have that kind of imagination.
Yeah.
So.
No, and he spent the previous issue screwing up the
John Jones.
humiliating the other members.
John Jones and Fire. Yeah. I'm just
He's a broken little man.
In my head, I'm like, this is just some backwater Earth in the multiverse.
So this is what's killing me. Like they crapped over Wally and then redeemed him, and then you're like, you know what? Darn it, let's go after Guy now.
Well, Tom King has had a blank check at DC since he went after Jay Lee. He proved himself to the audience that DC is trying to cultivate. Sorry if that pisses anybody off, but he was on the outs until he went full, I hate to use the term, SJW, and now he's beloved by all the right people. and despised by anybody that likes comics.
No, I know. I will never buy a book of his.
I was optimistic. I was foolishly optimistic. I have learned my lesson.
Yo ho.
It's like they all want to trump the whole Sue Dibney death, but instead of killing a woman, you're just gonna kill guys now.
They don't even remember that.
You know
Don't
that
even compare this to Identity Crisis. Brad Meltzer is 100 times.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
I'm just saying they're not gonna kill women anymore in comic books. They're gonna kill guys now.
4 years ago, somebody told me if I ever found out that you pirated a comic book, I would never watch a video of yours again. And this is when it was a thing, and I would always say, yeah, support your local comic shop, which I do. But there are some books that if I'm going to be talking about them on video, the only way I'm freaking reading it. I'm sorry, but if it's going to be something like this, if I wanted to delve into Human Target,
well, you've already got the parrot.
Your money is too important.
Well, a lot of them I do because like this one right here. Here's the thing: I could spend about maybe 2 hours scanning this, making sure that all the pages come out, make sure each panel is good, or I'll take about 5 minutes and I'll download it so I can put the pictures up and the images up. But the thing is, I don't think that has become the taboo activity that it once was anymore.
No,
just buy them and set them on fire, each one.
Well, I might just do that to this.
And then record it.
I'll tell you what I could do. We did talk about it the other night, but Marvel Comics is now printing on paper that people have been comparing to toilet paper.
I heard about that.
Maybe I'll test that out. See if that's actually real.
I gotta check my list for this week to see if I have any Marvel books.
Hey,
I do.
Guess what, guys?
I have one Marvel book, so I'll have to test the paper on that.
I guarantee you that toilet paper that Eric has is a better quality than they're using now.
Well, it definitely has better comics on it.
Yeah.
It's like they brought back Wally back to life. They just they screwed up Wally.
Gardner, no,
Guy Gardner. It's like
no, Guy Gardner's not dead. Here's why I tell you why. Or if he is, they're gonna bring him back. I'll tell you why. He's one of the main characters in the HBO Max show. There's like him, Alan Scott, and then the girl one, Joe, whatever her.
JoJo Mullen's fine.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, no, Guy Gardner is like one of the three main characters, so he's not going to be. He's not.
You're right, because Dark Crisis is coming out this summer for DC, so they're going to bring him back.
Well, they're Dark Crisis. They're killing them all off.
Yeah, so they're just going to restart anyway.
Actually, I think Hal lives through that. Actually, I'm not sure. I think Hal might live. I think I saw somewhere.
That's the only thing I never liked. That they had to ruin Hal, make Hal's parallax just to boost up Kyle Rayner.
Well, no, there was more to it than that. How, as he has pointed out on numerous occasions, that Barry Allen was a better martyr than a hero.
Yep.
Hal Jordan was far more interesting in death than he was in life, and that's despite 2 Emerald Dawn miniseries that tried to inject some personality into him. He was just kind of there, and they needed to do something to shake it up. Back then it wasn't just for it wasn't just like stunt casting, because they created a new Green Lantern who was a very compelling character. So they found a way. Jeff Johns found a way to bring him back because in the interim he'd been the Spectre, and they found a way to bring him back. And then under Jeff Johns, Hal Jordan had the personality that he never really had, because he only appealed to comic lifers like me. Mm-hmm. Green Lantern was always there, but it was never a consistently high seller. Hell, people forget that much heralded O'Neill Adams Green Lantern Green Arrow that got canceled for low sales. So it's not. It wasn't. Hey, we need something to do this month. We want to prop up a new character. it's just it was they needed to do something with Hal and temporarily taking him off the stage, and at least he was for a while. He was way more interesting as Parallax because Final Night, which in my opinion is one of the 2 or 3 best events DC ever did.
That was good.
His redemption made that event.
One of the things I liked, it seemed like the side stories, the ones that took place in the actual comics, actually kind of had something to do with the big story.
Hell yeah! Do you remember reading those and feeling cold?
Yes.
I mean, that's how good it was.
Yeah, they did very well with that, and like
each
I said,
week it got a little colder in the books because
it didn't feel like the add-ons were throwaways.
Mm-mm.
Not that you needed them to enjoy the story. It's just it was better to have that extra.
Something else we've talked about for years. Back in the day when events mattered, you wanted to read the side books.
Yes.
Now they're literally just minor cash grabs that are completely unnecessary. But yeah, the Final Night, absolutely every issue of that was worth reading.
Yeah, well, I got to admit that modern day, I'm not all that interested in the crossovers. I'm just not. This one that's coming up with the Justice League and all that, I'll read it. I'm not excited for it.
Events don't matter anymore because that's all
they do.
That's all they do.
It's bothering me. I'm sorry. I gotta fix that. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I will say there's one event, and I mean it's a minor event that I am interested in, and it's the upcoming Shadow War that Joshua Williams is writing, and he's writing all of the issues. And I'm interested because I've liked what he's done with Robin. I've been reading that, and that's, I think, one of the best, if not the best, current ongoing DC book being done. And I also really liked the 5-issue Justice League Incarnate miniseries. I mean, that was one where I had, zero knowledge of the more or less the previous event that was based off of, but I enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed, how he wrote Darkseid, and it's even made me marginally interested in Dark Crisis, but I'm, not there. But so he's doing the Shadow War, which is a whole, Ra's al Ghul gets killed, and then it kicks off a whole thing, between Gotham, and it's, going through Batman, Robin, and Deathstroke, and then there's an Alpha and Omega book and like one other side story book. So it's like 7 in total.
And it will have absolutely zero repercussions, not only as it happens, but going forward. And that's the problem with events, even the good ones.
No, I think they're bringing Alfred back.
It'll bleed over into something else, especially at DC. You're doing an event where you're killing off the Justice League, yet they're still alive, and one of the other books is being published at the same time. Again, I hate to keep bringing it up. 20 or 30 years ago, if something happened in an event, it mattered in the book next to it, and going forward, at least.
At the very least, they would say this is. There would be boxes. This takes place, blah blah, or they would put slap an Elseworld sticker on it.
How can you have an event going on in the Avengers with Thor, while at the same time he's off in another galaxy?
Yeah,
that's another thing that's lost.
But I'm just playing devils here, but unless you're a character like Spider-Man or Wolverine or Ghost Rider, who would be in 60 different titles in a single month, that happened all the time with those characters.
Yeah.
Definitely. Ow.
Oh, well, okay. In that kind of, the 90s were kind of an anything goes decade, but then they kind of cleaned it up in the second, in 2005.
Yeah.
Because I remember they brought Nova into one of the Avengers books, but they just killed him off.
Secret Avengers.
And gone.
Yep.
I remember they took him right out of the book. Nowadays they wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
Well, no, because then you're interfering with the story the author wants to tell.
But see, likewise, those Hercules books that you just sold the other night, you would see on the top of them, okay, this ties into Dark Reign, or this ties into Secret Invasion. Like, it wasn't Hercules. I don't know if he directly tied. I don't think he directly tied into any of those events, but it was like, okay, this is what's going on, and what's happening to Hercules goes on, right along with that storyline. Nowadays, yeah, it's like Breen's saying, you would have just everything can be hunky dory while a big life changing event's going on.
How have you not switched Black Cat and RDV?
God dang it. I wasn't even paying attention. There you go. Okay.
I was going to say, I was waiting for your OCD to kick in.
Yeah, in all honesty, it might look like I'm looking at the camera, but in all honesty, Fantasy Island's right over the computer. I
thought maybe you were formulating dinner plans.
Yeah.
Run away, cat. Run away.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, it's funny mentioning Guy Gardner. So I got this book. It was part of a 10-pack thing at Ollie's back when I, visited family in January. It was like, one of the few new comic book things that the Ollie's had. And so in there was issue 1 of Green Lantern Emerald Warriors. And so I started reading it, and this was really an interesting start. I'm really interested to kind of find the other issues or read a trade or whatever to find out what the rest of the story was. But I mean, this is kind of a great Guy Gardner where he, sees that there's something not quite right, and he goes and kind of confronts the I forget what they call the head lanterns to say, hey, we should do this. We should go out and explore, the unknown portion of space because we don't know what's lurking out there. And they go, yeah, you know what? You're right. We should do that. And you're going to go lead it. And so then he's got to go out, and find out, what's out there. And it was really good. Guy Gardner came off as a smart character. And then you look at what they did to him last week.
Well, also, I think in the last couple of years, it seems like DC has gone back to the default characterizations that now when you think of Guy, you think of, just complete asshole. But when they forget how much character development they did from the Bwahaha era through the Warrior series through all the Green Lantern, Green Lantern Corps. Yeah, no character has actually grown and changed more at DC than Guy. And it's all wiped out. Just like, Bruce Wayne will never have a love interest not named Selena Kyle, even though there were tons of them through the years. Because
Vicky Vale.
Well, I said because it's like it's a combination of they want them to be as much like the live action properties, and they think it's the same audience, and they don't want to confuse people by having different things in the books than you can see in the movies. And it's just, I said
they're writing cartoons.
Yeah,
these days they're writing
characterization.
Yeah, they're not going any deeper. There's no. I said this about talk about movies. I said this about the original X-Men movies, and it really does stay with a lot of modern day Marvel and DC, in the fact that it's the fact that they let the superpowers be the characterization. There is no real character anymore. It doesn't matter, and when it is, it's the person that's writing it. It's not Kitty Pryde. Can I ask you guys a question? Why does Kitty Pryde have to dress like a freaking pirate? Seriously, I get it. Okay, you're on a boat and you're a pirate. Why do you fucking dress like
I know why.
Freaking pirate? Okay, why? Why are you doing? Okay,
I'll take a stab at that. Remember America issue 3 where she meets the X-Men, but it was that era where Storm had the mohawk, and that's the only era that Gabby never heard of.
And by the way, if you look, what they were talking about and that look doesn't coincide. By the way, anyway, go.
Well, okay, whoever came up with that idea probably read that one issue of X-Men in their life where she's dressed like a pirate. It was like in the 150s.
It's like one of the fairy tale
and I
stories.
remembers that and thought, gee, that looks cool. Or maybe they did that in an episode of the X-Men cartoons.
They did.
So, okay, there you go. And that's how you get this.
There you go.
We have seen modern day pirates dress in a ratty old tank top, some short shorts, and some freaking dreadlocks. Get it, Captain, now.
The Mohawk was actually, it was actually in an Age of Apocalypse in the cartoon, and then she had the eye patch.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. And okay, yeah, your book, you think your book is cool, but
I like that. I liked her better when she dressed up like Star-Lord.
Yeah. Well, I was just holding up. I held it up closer to kind of make the point of one of the reasons why this is such a good read, at least for the first issue, is it's Peter J. Tomasi.
Tomasi, that's right, that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I like about Peter J. Tomasi? They let him write really good stuff for about 3 or 4 years, and they summarily dump him off the project.
Hey, we need you to make people believe our comic is gonna be good, and then you're fired.
And then we're gonna take you off it. And we're gonna dump it down the garbage.
He's been Bendis. He's been Tamaki'd.
Yep.
He's been Tom Tailored.
He is better than all of those writers
combined.
And yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't make a good writer by adding 3 shit ones together. So that's
Voltron.
Yeah, and to heal him, that's part and parcel of all of these people. They're fragile and they're all insecure.
That's
Anybody read this?
No.
Not
yet.
What's the paper quality like?
It's the original writer actually writing him back like it was back in the day.
That's great. I was just wondering if the paper quality was as crappy as we've been hearing.
No, actually, when it's
I forgot to read comics this week.
When it's actually written by somebody other than somebody named Tom, they're usually really good.
Yeah,
I read the Suicide Squad one. What is it? What do I got here? I bought I bought the new Joker. I got the Suicide. You know what? I got the last 3 issues of this and I lost them somewhere.
This was my entire pull list from last week.
The She-Hulk.
I've got a stack of Infinity Inks to read.
Oh, nice. That may be. I don't know. I've got to probably limit myself, but that may be next on my collection.
Can you full screen LK so we can look at actual comic books and not the stuff you're
What do you got?
Not me. Do I look like LK?
Well, you both play sports. You're gonna tell. I'm not a biologist.
That looks awesome.
What an insult
If you go to the
LK.
Saturday auctions, this is some of the stuff that you can
Hold
find.
on. He's saying something very important.
Yeah. If you go to E's Saturday auction, this is some of the great stuff that you can find.
That is true.
Oh, right.
That's a fact. Look at that Ultra Human. That is an awesome cover. I love covers
and
like
all
that.
of those books, if I went for how many of American dollars?
Oh, I don't want to give it away.
It's only like 10, I believe. Two issues of a modern comic book, and you could have goods like that.
Hey, do you mind if I take this moment to tell Evil Black Cat to go? You know what himself?
Yeah, go on ahead.
All right, I just did.
This is your haul.
These are some of yours that I just have close by.
Oh, Herky, you're so godly.
Yeah. This is the facsimile. This is not the original one.
Which you also got here.
Which I also got there. Yeah. So yeah.
So 15 issues of Infinity Inc. for $30.
I got like 20 issues
that is
of
not
the Green
bad.
Hornet
for Todd McFarlane, folks.
Or something like that.
Yeah, the Green Hornet books. There are sometimes when I get a collection and I wish I was still collecting comics, because that is a sweet run of Green Hornet, man. That is if I remember correctly, you got a run, right?
Yeah,
like
first 20 issues.
20, yeah.
20.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
Dominic.
Awesome,
no,
man.
but that too, but is that true?
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Oh, I heard about the Alan Moore doing the BBC thing, which I'm actually really curious to check out.
But if that's true that Brian Michael Bendis is teaching college, then maybe all the leftists that says it should be free have a point.
How do you like that? Geriatric rogues?
Did you guys read the Rogues?
I read it.
I thought about it. It wasn't in my
I'm
budget.
waiting for the second issue to actually fully judge it. It's really an opening.
It looks nice. It's Joshua Williamson writing. So.
This is almost the opposite of what I was talking about earlier. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of story. There's a lot of characters, a lot of characterization, but there's no story. It really is all about let's meet these guys again, but as older people. It reminds me of that Catwoman graphic novel series that they put out, but it's the Flash's Rogues.
Yeah. Okay, so here's some fun. Better cover.
Okay. All righty. We'll do better cover. And by the way, we invite the chat to play along. Better cover. Okay.
Yep. Jerry Ordway.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Like the,
or Todd McFarlane.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
I kind of like the Ordway one a little bit better.
Goodness. That is a striking Psycho Pirate.
Isn't it though?
Yeah. I still have to agree with the Ordway. It's just more detail. You get an idea of what's in the comic book a little bit better. I'm going to go Ordway as that as well. And we've got Rhaegar saying it's an Ordway slam dunk.
Todd's getting pummeled.
A four-way Ordway.
But again,
Ordway.
the thing I love most about this is both covers, as striking as they are, also give you a glimpse of what the story is actually about.
What?
That doesn't happen in comics. I buy this.
Astounded.
Yeah, but you know what? I can joke.
I have
about
that one.
I can joke
I have
about
that one somewhere.
But I am very much a person who buys the cover Bs, so I can't say anything.
That's a good cover you had there, Venkman. I have that one somewhere.
Yeah, pop up that Suicide Squad. We'll show it off.
This is the one I got from the auction. I got a
Or
bunch.
Justice League. Oh yeah,
nice.
that was this last.
Yeah,
week.
I just got my books in this week actually.
Yeah, we should be. We'll probably be reading that in a couple weeks.
Probably. That's our new. We switched over from Spider-Man to JLI.
Yeah.
One punch.
The funny thing is,
most of my lines were spent laughing last night.
The funny part is that I thought you were just doing a fake laugh for Beetle when he's laughing, but he actually laughed that way.
No, it started as a fake laugh, but then the dialogue just had me actually laughing. JLI is a lot funnier to read than Spider-Man.
That was the issue we read last night, was the origin of what that run became known as, because that was the first time he actually did go blah ha ha.
Well, the funny part is that when we first mentioned Guy and Eric made that politeness, that's Guy after getting punched by Batman. He was polite.
No, that isn't what did it. It was him bumping his head.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
To get his ring back.
Yeah, he got a hand bit.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna love the next 10 or so issues, because that guy is. I love that guy.
I'm just glad.
I like the whole story where they end up going to Apocalypse. I have part of it. I need to get, I guess, the first part of it, but I have the second part where, and Hawkman's always like correcting people. It's like, no, your language, watch your mouth.
Yeah. I mean, the other striking thing about reading those JLI books is there's humor. There's one joke, and then boom, move on to the next one. They don't run anything into the ground.
Oh my gosh!
Modern day humor in comic books usually goes.
Our issue 8 of the JLI.
I forgot about
was
this.
Hilarious. And all it was in the whole issue was just them moving. It's like that book you showed before, that horrible book you don't like, the one from Image.
Yeah.
But they did the same thing, but they actually were more creative in issue 8. They were just moving into the new building. Everything kept going wrong. Beetle crashes the ship through the roof.
Well, but there was also what was going on in space.
Yeah.
When they figure out that I mean, there was so much more going on in a book in those days. And
multiple storylines getting addressed.
And even with that, there was action.
Yeah.
Rhaegar
Rhaegar nails it. something that McGuire drew in the faces just made it really funny.
Oh yeah.
And the Superboy, the adventure. Well, not me.
Oh.
Venkman.
Sorry. I got all these.
That is the first appearance of John. The first full appearance of John Kent.
Yeah,
Connor Kent.
Connor Kent. Thank you. Yeah.
Here to help.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, all of those are really good books.
Yeah.
And that is now they have the one with the green cardstock cover, but that of course is the newsstand version, and you know what I'm talking about. But you don't have Connor Kent on the cover of the other one, so in some ways I kind of like that version. I kind of like that version of the cover,
but I still like the original.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. Eric, are you okay? Is the ambulance coming for you?
Oh no, that was once again. That's Fantasy Island, guys. I've got Fantasy Island playing.
You're playing.
Hey, you want to see something that's worth more than everything that we've shown tonight? But I wouldn't trade straight up for any of them if it wasn't for monetary value.
Your sarcophagus.
Fuck off, cat.
Yeah, that is a book that you want at least for the monetary value. Did that come in a collection?
Yeah, right?
No, this is the first print.
Oh.
Now here's something. This will tell you how effed up, and it should be also a warning. This has dropped to $650.
What was it before it dropped?
$8.
Oh wow!
But also, I also came across Avenging Spider-Man #9 today. That's dropped down to $75.
Oh,
really?
We sold that for more than $400 less than a year ago.
That's the first Captain Marvel, right?
Captain Manvers, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're seriously, when you're looking to invest, go old. Really, Cat? Really?
I know, right?
Too easy.
Hey, he's a copycat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Trusty, we do not need to invoke that picture one more time of Amy Schumer in the Spider-Man outfit. And you're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold up that bracelet, Eric.
Wait, is Life Alert bracelet?
I don't know what you're laughing about, old man.
Hey, that's why I'm out walking every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Hell, for all I know, Black Cat could be older than me.
Yeah.
We don't know.
It's possible.
I wouldn't mind doing another covering comics where we're voting on.
Heck yes.
Zach and I literally combined for your age.
The video, the compilation videos don't do a lot of views, but gosh darn it, is fun to pick.
They are fun, and you get audience interaction on the rating.
On the live stream, at least you get we get audience interaction.
Okay, Joker.
Yeah.
It's like the interactive scene in the Eric Green's museum.
Okay, I just heard interactive semen. What are you talking about? What the hell is interactive semen?
Yeah,
well,
but I
get your head out of the gutter.
But I get all the age jokes.
The hell is he talking about? I don't
choose your own adventure.
Okay, I'm gonna bow out of this particular conversation here. I don't know what I'm hearing.
He was babbling something insult Breen something
blah 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 blah. Breen is old. Blah 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 blah.
That's all I hear when he talks.
Okay.
Oh, Rhaegar, don't give Tom King any ideas.
Like you hear anything when I talk.
At least I do.
Yeah.
The guy next to me doesn't.
Other side.
That side.
Okay, I've got good reason though. And there has been, by the way, some damage. I used to work out at Universal Studios. and I worked at an attraction called Twister. The entire thing was just loud all over the place. Now they gave us earplugs, but guess who a lot of times kind of bowed out of wearing them because they kept falling out. Why am I going to keep putting them on my ear if they keep falling out? So in all honesty, we have experienced a little bit of hearing loss, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why I'm always like, wait, what? Okay. That's why I swear to gosh, I I heard him say interactive semen. I don't know what he was talking about. That's what I hear. Interactive semen would be a good hero. Hey, wasn't there a video game based on that? Amy Schumer horrified to learn you can now get slapped for bad jokes. God bless the Babylon Bee.
Wait a minute, they're back?
No. This is a screenshot. This is somebody else tweeted it.
But they actually, the Babylon Bee they moved over to Instagram. And their first post says, like, it's sad to say that we're no longer on Twitter. So if you want to get your fake news, tune in to CNN.
Yeah, I've seen some people trying to do Babylon Bee-esque tweets, but
you can't copy the original.
No, they're not bad, but it's still.
Green, those are not Babylon Bee-esque parodies. That's the news.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's the actual news.
Alrighty, kids. One they posted today is that Twitter hires Will Smith to slap comedians who tell jokes they don't like.
There you go.
That's not a good one.
Alrighty, gang. So thanks for hanging out with us. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow night. Maybe if Gail and I decide to stick around the house, we'll fire up a live stream and do a covering comics or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, or eventually we'll talk about DMZ.
Oh, that's right. We were supposed to do that tonight. Oh, hey.
Nerds.
I thought you were actually going to talk about the awards that got handed out.
No, we already did that.
Oh, okay.
That was me and Dalton. We did a live stream on the movie channel.
Oh, it was on the movie channel, right?
Okay, so
actually, Dalton's still on there.
Right.
Can't read it already.
Still talking about why Dune shouldn't win anything.
Yeah.
You have a tiny screen.
Due to food shortages, many hobbits going without second breakfast. There you go. Okay. Okay, so LK and I watched a based on comic book series called DMZ. He has read the comic book, I guess, recent enough to remember it. I read maybe an issue of it 20 years ago when it first came out. So we're coming from two different places. LK from someone who read it. I'm from someone who didn't. It stars Rosario Dawson. It takes basically the United States has become split, and you got this one area that is now looking to find a leader. They're trying to. There's going to be an election, and they want to become a sovereign area, their own place. And at the same time, Rosario Dawson is trying to find her son. She got separated when people were forced out of what is now known the DMZ. And I started watching this, and we've had conversations back and forth. We're going to make this a shorter version than we may have if it happened a week or two ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking this is a really good show. And I was impressed with the acting. I thought that was done well. I liked the story. It moved on forward. I liked the characters. They were fine. Some were a little bit off. But overall, I didn't mind it. LK, the first episode, what did you think?
The first episode was fine. I was laughing at parts because, again, so I mean, just give a quick little background. I remember buying the early issues of DMZ when it came out. I read probably about the first 20 or so. Fell off, saw this, and especially after watching the first episode, I kind of went back to read a couple issues to kind of refresh my memory and try and figure out to see, okay, are they actually basing this storyline off of anything in the comic books? you know, so the first episode, the positives I will say is, yeah, the acting was good. It was shot well. But pretty much everything else I thought was terrible. I mean, the story was average, but as it continued to move on, it got just worse and worse, laughably worse.
Okay.
And just as an overview, this I will point to this now as the poster child for when Hollywood takes a comic book property and skins it and wears it as an ill-fitting suit. Because
I haven't read it, so I don't know how accurate that statement is.
Well,
But
I mean, so I can tell you. So the main character in the comic book is nowhere to be found in the series at all. Because the main character in the comic book is a kid named Maggie Roth, who is an intern for a photojournalist. He gets dropped into Manhattan with a veteran journalist that he's supposed to just intern for. They get caught in crossfire. Journalist gets killed, and now he's all alone. There is a character named Z that he hooks up with. That is a medic. But she is probably a 20-something person and has no son, and all of the other stuff is nonsense. There is a Wilson character who's nothing like what's in the TV show. There is a Paco character that comes up, I think it was around issue 29 or 30. So basically this whole kind of storyline of the election to nominate a governor for a free Manhattan, free DMZ is a 5 or 6 issue arc. That's kind of in the middle of the DMZ run.
Okay.
But that basically is like the framework at best is all they take from it in terms of, oh, there's an election and this guy Paco is involved. The whole stuff about turning out to be Paco being, Aluma's, I refuse to call her Z, Aluma's husband, and all that stuff is completely made up in the TV show.
Right. Okay, so I got to tell you, I liked it. I thought it was a fine show until about 2 episodes to the end. Like once only
4 episodes, so you're talking about halfway through.
Oh my gosh, yes, you are. You're right. There's 4 episodes.
Yeah,
I liked the first 2. I didn't care for the second 2. When they went to the war, and it was like, wait a second. You want this area to be free as a people. You just saw the dictatorial actions of the Benjamin Bratt character. Why are you still following him? I mean, he's a very charismatic actor, and I'm glad they got him to play that role. But then it devolves into it's like just
it devolves into girl power for one thing.
That's at the end. At the end, all the men are either dead or going, "Whoa, we screwed up."
It starts going through in the 3rd episode when you start seeing quote unquote who all the power players are.
Yeah, and it was like, but by the end of it, it's like a bad straight to video 1980s action film at the end. It's like they put all the thought and all the character into the first 2 episodes, and then figured, now that we know who the characters are, let's just write them stupid. And then that's how it was. If you're going to do some of the things that they did do in this, you definitely had to have more episodes to show why is this guy really dealing with the army because he's coming off like a dupe. You wrote him so intelligent in the first 2 episodes, and he's so stupid. And I'm talking about the Benjamin Bratt character. And that's what I thought about a lot of them. Oh my gosh, our enemies are coming to the gate. Let us stand right in the center of the street so when those gates open, we're automatically mowed down. We're holding swords while they're coming in with guns. It's like, come on, really? It just yeah, you're right. So first half was better. Second half was crap. Okay.
Yeah,
that's my take on the DM.
I mean, the first episode, as I say, I kind of enjoyed, and then of course it all clicked into place when I saw who directed it, who the executive producer was on it, who's Ava DuVernay. Mm-hmm. Even though she doesn't really have a writing credit on this, But I've never seen a show go so quickly downhill in a matter of 4 episodes, where at the end I'm saying, oh God,
Yeah.
when is this going to be over?
And you
Hopefully-
talk about the girl power thing, the very last scene where it's
multiple scenes. I mean, you get this whole Romeo and Juliet BS subplot. You know, I love the fact that, you know, oh yeah, even though you threw my surrogate father out the freaking window and killed him, yes, I still love you. I'm going to come back and I'm going to leave with you.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was pretty stupid.
And of course, I mean, you know, it was funny. I was fully expecting actually the DJ to be a trans person. So that was, you know, and just, I mean, just everything else. As I said too, I mean, at the end, I'm like, you know, oh, how dare you use a Radiohead song? This show did not
played by the trans person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the voice of the DJ is the person that did the Rocky Horror Picture Show Live, and then if you saw that one TV show on Netflix about that girl who basically scammed New York, what was that girl's name?
Yeah, but different than the actual actress that was the DJ, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it's different
okay.
than the actress, but the voice was what's the trans person's name? They were in that show. Heather something starts with an H. You remember that? The actress is no. I mean, she did fine in both. But, wait, what?
What? Well, you said Heather something. I so wanted to say a different last name.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I forgot who it was. But yeah, good job. It was definitely not the actress we saw. So it was.
Yeah. And again, I just love the fact of if Alma never shows up, there is no death. There's no level of death and destruction in the DMZ. I mean, the amount of people that died, buildings blown up, that in the destruction that she leaves in her wake. You know, all because I gotta find my son. I gotta find my son.
Yeah, you are kind of right about that, aren't you?
It just, oh God, it just, as I say, it just gets progressively worse and worse and worse. You know, and then the last episode and a half when we find out, you know, that. Every power behind things, it is a woman. And then, of course, I mean, as you say, the speech at the end, and I'm like, oh, yeah, in this area, you're really all going to come together. You know, you've just taken out the 2 biggest factions in the DMZ. Mm-hmm. It's called a power vacuum. You don't think the 2-4 or one of the other factions out there is not going to then try and seize power? No,
because girl power.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then we got the whole lesbian sisters that control the water bullshit with Nora Dunn showing up for about 30 minutes total screen time. Maybe.
Yeah, Laverne Cox. I don't know what I was thinking about an H beginning. That's my memory.
Yeah, that was really she really was nothing more than just a plot point. Just
she was. She was. But forward. Yeah, that was the sad thing is I'm watching this show. And I'm liking it. I don't have any ties to the comic book the same way you did. And by the end of it, I was like, I'm gonna go watch Cloak and Dagger.
Two shows that
honestly better. And again, it ultimately too for me, especially going back and reading a couple issues of DMZ and then actually reading through the arc where Paco actually appears in the comic book and how he's running for kind of more or less call it governor, but it gets too complicated. Yeah, that storyline was just so much better. Again, it's like what we talk about with Hollywood versus, I'll say, Japan with anime, where 9 times out of 10 your anime is almost a direct shot for shot of the manga because that's what people expect. They want to see that story. Whereas Hollywood now, because of the egos involved and all the other BS nonsense, it's always, well, let's take this property, but let's create our own version of it. Let's create our own vision of it instead of actually following a freaking story that is the reason why you've bought the property in the first place. And just go and read the first arc of DMZ and you'll go, why on earth could they not have done this story? And more importantly, if they wanted to make it, girl power and have female leads and all that stuff, fine. Change change Maddie Roth, the intern photojournalist, into a female.
Mhm.
You still could have had Z. You could have made him any race, nationality, LGBTQIA, whatever you wanted to. You could still have a kick-ass story about the DMZ and this person who gets dropped in who has no clue what's going on and has to make their way through it.
If there is a lesson to be learned by comic movies in the last 20 years, it's best to throw away the source material.
Because that's what the Hollywood people are doing.
That's what the writers do too.
Well, actually, we have at least said you follow it a little bit, except for Civil War. Anyway, guys, there you go. Watch it if you want. Neither one of us are recommending this. Even in the beginning, you might like it, but by the end, it's a garbage fire. And I just realized I had a Dutch angle. Here you go.
Moon Knight comes out this Wednesday, and then look for a Moon Knight reading on this channel on Friday.
There you go. All righty, kids. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit, and I hope you enjoyed. Please consider going on over to Ko-Fi, dropping $1 in the till. Tomorrow we might. Tomorrow's our day off, where me and Gail do something. So if we are home, I'll jump on. We'll do a covering comics, talk about some characters decade.
Don't two of your children have a top 5 thing they do on Tuesdays?
Yeah, we do.
Those short screens.
It took me a second. I was like, wait, what do his daughters do on Tuesdays?
Yeah, which we'll do a covering comics and just trounce the competition. Since they decided to move it over to their own channel, and I need something done here, we're just gonna bitch. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna Will Smith their
I'm torn.
We're gonna stand up to you. We're gonna not even flinch.
To be fair, I'm torn between a dilemma. Either you're gonna interrupt me and talk about cake, or Zach's gonna leave me for cake.
Okay, there you go. All right, gang. But thanks for hanging out with us as always. Thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.